You're listening to Secret Sonics, a podcast exploring the creative side of music production. Welcome back to Secret Sonics. My guest today is Eduard Kort. Eduard is a music producer, audio engineer, and pianist living in Berlin, Germany. He specializes in combining classic sounds with modern production techniques. He's produced, mixed, and mastered music for over 70 artists from 18 different countries around the world and has helped them accumulate millions of plays combined. He's even had productions that hit #1 spots on Spotify and iTunes. He strives to help the artists he works with create music that stands the test of time and that will continue to build their fan base and brand long after it is released. I came across Eduard on Instagram and have always been super impressed with his content, and his music sounds amazing. Everything he does seems to be really spot on, and just impressed by this guy. And I just felt like this is a guy I need to reach out to, have on the podcast, and he was so cool with it. And now we've just been schmoozing for like 30 minutes, and what a cool dude. So it's a privilege to have you. Welcome to the podcast, Eduard.
What's up? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a real pleasure.
And probably you should extend the list for the 70 artists right now actually to over 100. But just on as a side note, I should change that. that was a thing a year ago.
Nice. I just ripped that off of your website. So, Eduard, tell us a bit about how you got started getting involved in music production.
Right. So we just talked about for 30 minutes, and I explained my heritage and how I came to Germany, actually, because I was born in Kazakhstan and moved to Germany in 2001. But musically, I first encountered music like on a real deep level when I was in the first grade in Kazakhstan. So remember, this is like post-Soviet Union. There's nothing that, like, poor people, no, like, nothing fancy, no concerts, nothing. And I saw like a rich girl, she had rich parents who could afford to send her to piano class. And she played the Dog's Waltzer, which is, just a ridiculous song to play. It's super easy, but it was so, like, it put so much impression onto myself. Like, that for me, it was something like out of this world. Seeing someone play an actual piano on stage. I didn't hear any real piano up until that, and that was me with 7 or 6, and that was like touched me on like a super deep level as a kid. And that was like, from then on, I didn't want anything else besides playing the piano. And I was just, ammoed my parents into taking me to class and paying for that shit. Although they didn't even have the money necessarily. Nothing else in life touched me on a deeper level more than music in that moment. Like there's for some people, it's drugs. For some people, the feeling that is most near to what I can describe, how it felt. It's probably the same feeling as your first love, like the first love you had in your life. That feeling of this endorphin rush, and there's this something like beyond, like something like that's godly, not like in a religious sense, but something that's higher, just on a higher level, spiritual level. It's nothing that just it's not dirty in a feeling, like it's no like sexual, not a sexual thing. It's not a dirty sexual rush. It's nothing that's like appealing to your animal senses. It's just, it's nothing that where you just drink good amount of alcohol and like, yeah, I'm feeling good. It's not that feeling. It's not a dirty rush. It's a clean meditative state. And not a lot of people can relate to that. Obviously, we as musicians, and also not every musician can relate to that. Because from experience, it's just only a handful of people I talk to, they can really, really relate to this feeling. And they would always ask me like, hey, did you do like DMT or did you do mushrooms? I'm like, no, like this is the feeling you're describing when you take mushrooms, like this connection and like loving feeling, connection to the world and to God, whatnot. But this is a whole different issue. For me, it's just nothing else in life gives me the feelings that music gives. So everything put a huge impression on me, and I really, really wanted it. So that's basically my background, combined with my dad being super into collecting vinyl, 70s, funk records, Boney M, Chic, later ABBA, Michael Jackson, Prince. All that stuff put a huge impression on me, put a huge stamp on me. The French scene, like the whole French house scene, influenced me a lot because I had this funk and 70s background, and then I rediscovered the same music in French house, which was Daft Punk and Stardust and those guys. And actually, when I saw the Daft Punk animated movie, the Interstellar 5555 or SSSS, that's when it just clicked for me. I'm like, this is crazy. It's just something that's popping in the charts right now. It's new, it's fresh, but it still has a 70s influence in it. So that's what I wanted to do, like Daft Punk stuff, and later on Justice in 2007. And since then I've been on that largely on the new disco, funk, and pop lane.
So that being said, was there a song or album that really opened your mind to the possibilities of what could be accomplished with production specifically?
Lots of stuff that touched me, and I always say touched me, but when I wasn't producing music, I know you cannot describe with musical terms. So early childhood, there was Michael Jackson and Cheek, 70s records. They just sounded different, way from what Russian people were listening to, because Russian people were listening to, pop music and traditional Russian music. And then later in the 90s, all of that Euro trance, Euro dance stuff that wasn't touching me at all. Although it does. When I listen to it right now, it's kind of nostalgic. Yeah, but the defining album for me probably would be Discovery by Daft Punk, which was out in 2001, but I haven't heard it until 2003 probably. And parallel to the track, they released basically an anime, but where the music is actually the action. So they're not speaking anything. It's just the background music is being, or the picture is happening to the score, basically. But that was one of the most important albums in my life. It's even if you watch it right now, it's something that's monumental. Everyone who has not listened to the Discovery album should do it. And the second best, or the second album that had me in the trenches, was 2007 Justice and Cross. Because even right now, when you listen to it, the production value, the arrangement, the songwriting because it's electronic, but the songwriting, the mixing and the mastering, I'm pretty sure nobody reached that level yet. Whoever tried to replicate it, beyond amazing. I don't know how they did it up until now. 2007, it's 12 years ago, actually. And since then, they already released like three new albums, as far as I remember.
Well, Wikipedia afterwards.
Exactly. Since then, nobody came even close, sound design and production-wise, to the level of innovation that they put overall. So people still try to remake their basses, their drums, their overall processing. Nobody came even close to that. So that has a huge impact onto my sound up until now. I've seen them live a couple times. Great guys, but those two albums are my long-term defining albums for the rest of my life, probably. I'll
definitely put links to that in the show notes so people can check it out. So what do you look for in an artist when you're trying to see if it will be a good fit working together?
Well, that changed throughout the last 3 years. I worked full-time. So right now I'm 28, so I was producing for the last 15 years probably. But I started moving. Yeah, that was
most of your life.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
More than 50% of my life. But I actually just went full time just 3 years ago. Not even like 2 years and a couple months.
No way.
Exactly. So that was kind of bumpy transition. Was not as smooth. So I dropped out of college because I didn't want to do. My parents wanted, like you need to go to college. You need to study this, and this. I didn't want to. But when I moved out and started to care for myself, I'm like, I have to live with this shit for the rest of my life. What I will listen to my parents, and right now they're actually cool with it. They actually support me. They actually like it because I'm making more money than my dad actually, which is which is funny. Just to brag a little bit. But just 3 years ago, I started doing this whole thing full time. And when I started out, I was taking on any job and any artist I could get because I needed a portfolio, I needed cash flowing in, and just remember for a business guy. And for building a business long term, what you need is cash coming in. So cash is king. If you don't have any cash coming in, you cannot reinvest, you cannot scale, you cannot grow at all. So you're kind of stuck at one level, or you're working into the negative, which is it's not dangerous, but it's not, you can do anything. You're just stuck. So I was taking on any job and any project I could get. So initially, but that was good, because when you start out, you need to do that. You don't know what kind of stuff you're looking for. You don't know what kind of stuff you want to do long term. And I didn't even know that I could niche down into my little funk pop niche and just produce and mix only, and just take on projects that I enjoy. But as time went on and my brand kind of established itself to an extent, at least, I'm not saying I'm like the biggest guy, but long term, I'm planning to be like the go-to funk guy who works with Bruno Mars and all those guys. Well, I already did work a little bit into that direction, but it's like long term.
Yeah.
But that's my plan. So as I grew my brand and did more projects and gained confidence into my abilities, then I actually started out like, hey, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I don't want to do the 50th Justin Bieber song, or like the 20th Chainsmokers song, because that's what everyone wants at the moment. You know, like, I want to have Justin Bieber. I want to, like 2 years ago, actually, I want to have the Chainsmokers song, future bass. And I'm kind of good at most popular genres, but I don't enjoy it. If you do the same shit every time and you don't enjoy what you do in terms of the work, I mean, it's still fun. You get paid to produce songs and produce or mix stuff, but it's not as fun overall.
Yeah.
So I kind of worked on my brand, kind of niched down, and when I made more money, I kind of disregarded the projects that I didn't want to do. So I niched down to all of the funk and pop stuff that I do right now. Coming back to your questions, what I look into an artist is right now the willingness to work, like actual hunger. Because most artists, they kind of want it. They come to me and say like, hey dude, I want to have this produced, and it should have this sound. And it might be like something that fits me. It might be something that's into my little niche, something like more funk poppy.
Yeah.
But they want people to put them on. Like they want to pay me and don't do anything else. So they produce the song out, they have it done, and that's basically it on their end. They just put it out, and it just gets a couple plays on Spotify, a couple plays on SoundCloud. That's basically
such a drag.
That hurts me actually, because they paid me to do this shit. They paid me like, let's say, like €1,000 to produce a song. Just, maybe.
Yeah.
But then they don't get an ROI on that. I want them to get an ROI of having the song produced, but then actually getting the plays and getting the ROI that they expect. Whatever it might be. Not only getting the money back into the investment by like getting streams and getting the song licensed somewhere, but just by having the people reach out and telling them, yo, this is actually good stuff. I'm looking forward to the next one. So people right now, they want someone to pay. They want to pay someone to do the stuff, but then don't put in the work afterwards. So I'm looking people who are actually hungry for the success, whatever it might be. But they want to work themselves.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually made a YouTube video about that with the people that like literally don't do anything with a song after they've invested their heart and soul into it, and it's just like, you have to think more than just the song itself. Nobody's going to promote the music for you if you don't do it yourself, And I've talked about this already on the podcast, but being a music producer is a real emotional labor, like you really are invested in the song by the time you're done with it. It's like it's part of your soul is in that song as well. And that, and when the song like is kind of almost disregarded, it kind of hurts.
100%. Because sometimes, so for me, it's actually funny, because I'm kind of super, not unique, but I'm super egoistical in that regard. Like if someone comes to me, I'm very picky in regards to my terms. So if they don't want to work on my terms, I don't take them on. But it's actually the best case if they do take on my terms. It's the best case for them. So for example, I don't work on deadlines. For mixing, I do. For productions, I don't. Someone comes to me and say, hey, I need this track done in a week. I would say, nope, not gonna happen. I will take as much time as I need to produce the track, because I want to give you the best freaking product that you can get and that you can be proud of.